Very good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Design Meetup, powered by IxDF Kerala and co-sponsored by Experion Technologies. Mastering UI prototyping equips designers with the skills and knowledge necessary to excel in creative, interactive, and engaging user interfaces. With the focus on the entire prototyping process, from initial concept development to final interactive design, this empowers designers to create impactful user experience that exceed expectations. Our speaker Nejimsha Nazar, a UI designer, will be taking us through the topic Mastering UI Prototyping. Our speaker Nejimsha is a UI designer based in Kochi, Kerala. Micro animation and interaction excites him so much. He believes that presenting designs as a prototypes to stakeholders can help sell your design and aid them to understand better how a user will interact with the application. For the ease of a better experience, we have muted the audience mic during the session. Please put in your questions in the chat window. All through, we have an interactive Q&A session at the end of this webinar, where the audience can interact and discuss. A recorded version of this webinar will be available in our YouTube channel. For those who are just joining us, welcome to Mastering UI Prototyping from Concept to Interactive Designs. Over to you, Nejimsha.
Thank you, Mega. Thank you for the great intro. Hello and good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the IxDF section on Mastering UI Prototype from Concept to Interactive Design. Today we will be discussing on the importance of prototyping in creating an effective user-friendly products. So why did I take this topic? It's pretty simple. Because if you are providing a static website to our stakeholders or user, it won't excite them that much. So it is always crucial that if you are providing that website or application or any kind of product with particular animation or is there in kind of moment within that, it can excite them so much, right? So it is pretty clear that all the designers should be have a clear understanding of what really prototype is capable of. So let's get into it. So here's a quick overview on what we are going to cover in today's webinar. So firstly, we will be talking about the importance of the UI prototype in the design process. Then we will be jumping to the key principles of what it can guides through the UI prototyping. Then we will be exploring about the tools and softwares that we can be used for UI prototype. Then we'll go the step-by-step process of planning and define the flow and about the low fidelity wireframe and also how to do the low fidelity prototypes and also the high fidelity prototyping. Then we will be talking about the gathering feedback from the users and the stakeholders. Then lastly, we will be wrapping up with some real case studies and also examples just to solidify your understanding. Okay, let's move on to the introduction. Okay, what is UI prototype? It is actually extremely important in the designing process because it allows us to transform any kind of static designs to an interactive and engaging experience among the users and the stakeholders, right? So prototype is basically it enables us to test the ideas and to gather the feedback and also make them early improvements on the designs, which can be used for the better user experience and which will be highly satisfaction level and which will also help for the cost saving. So by using this kind of UI prototype, we can actually create the designs that can go beyond what the user is gonna be expecting, and we can provide with some impactful design and with a great experience too. So let's talk about some of its importance of the UI design. Okay. Actually, UI prototyping is crucial for a number of reasons. Firstly, it allows the designer to visualize and fine-tune the ideas and can make it easily to identify and address any kind of potential usability problems. So later, it also helps in the effective communication and which also comes in the collaboration among the designers. So also among the stakeholders, even among the developers, also they're providing collaboration methods. So ensuring everyone is also involved has the shared understanding of what the real product is. So for that, the UI prototyping is really crucial for that. So it can also helps in the aligning the design with the user's expectation, and which also brings in a proper business objectives. So at the end, the final part is it should be the user experience, right? Yeah. So let's take an example about an application. So I guess everyone is familiar with the app called the CRED. So as we can see that they have been provided the process through a gamification method. So in most and every screens, there is a gamification in it, and all the progress screens has been shown with some kind of games over there. So actually, that's a perfect example for a perfect design, right? So also, it always makes us curious among us by showing just the loading animation before they are showing their cashback. So it's just making a curiosity among all the users to what will be the next process. So there will be any kind of amount they are gonna give. Is there is an offer? So that kind of expectation is just coming by just showing that animation itself. So there is a significant importance for the micro interactions and prototype in every application. So let's talk about the key principles of the design. So there are a lot of principles for it. So some of them are the clarity, fidelity, functionality, iteration, and also the user-centeredness. So what is clarity? So clarity is an essential part in the UI prototype because that the design ideas should be communicated effectively with the stakeholders and the users. So to achieving this clarity, we can do a number of things. Actually, we can provide the user with a proper labels on the designs and proper visual cues, and we can organize the UI elements in a logical and intuitive manner. Okay, yeah, fidelity. Fidelity actually, which refers to the details and the realism that we are providing to the UI prototype. So choosing the appropriate fidelity level is based on the designer and also the stages of the design. So there are, as I said earlier, that there are two kinds of fidelity, like low fidelity wireframes are the high fidelity prototypes and wireframes are there. So while doing this low fidelity sketches and wireframes, it's actually ideal on the early stages of the design. So by creating the prototype for this wireframes, the user or the stakeholder will get a proper understanding about the flow of the design, right? So while coming to the high fidelity, it is more interactive and it is really suitable for the user testing and showcasing the final product of the version. So functionality. So functionality is nothing but it's the demonstration of the core functionality and its interaction of the user's interface of the product. So it is the key to creating an engaging and user-friendly prototype. So prioritizing the key features and user flows which can align the appropriate user experience. So highlighting these elements in the prototype to effectively convey the product is functional. So, what is iteration? Iterative prototypes, iterative approach in a UI prototype, which can allows a continuous improvement and also provides a refinement on the screens. So never go out with just one design, just try to implement multiple versions and try to provide multiple ideas because it's 2023, there are a lot of prototyping techniques and a lot of animations are there. So try to implement a creative way how we can just show them in a creative and which can relate us with our daily days. So there are a lot of animation techniques that we can relate with our daily use. So try to implement that on the designs and provide some of the iterations so the stakeholders can just understand what are the difference between the static and what are the creative things that we can be provided. So user-centeredness. User-centeredness is basically it is our approach to place the goals and also needs and to understand the expectation of the users and the targeted audience and also the stakeholders. So actually during this process with empathy, also considering the user's perspective and the context is important. So considering user feedback through the usability testing and validating the and also ensure that the design decision is aligned with the user's preference and enhancing the overall user experience. Okay, let's now talk about the design tools that have been used for the prototyping. So there are a lot of tools that are now available for creating the prototype. Some of them are the Framer, Prototype Principle, and Figma. Actually, they are popular because of the vast popularity and its functionality to create the prototype, and also having the collaborating capabilities of that. So in this webinar, I will be mainly focusing on Figma. It's just because of its collaborative environment, and which it also has a vast variety of prototyping techniques which can be easily done. So prototype is something more advanced, so it's better to start with Figma right now. So actually each tool has its own strength, and selecting the right one is mainly depends on each project, and also the personal preference too. So it is actually essential to explore the different tools and identify that which one suits for you. Okay. Um, about the defining the user flow, right? So to ensuring that the interfaces was designed effectively meets the user's need, actually it is really crucial to understand what is the goal of the user, and we need to map out the journey through the interface. So this can be achieved by creating the user persona, where we will know the unique characteristics of the users, right? So even we can understand their preferences and also their goals, what they are going to expect from that application. So additionally, user flow diagrams also can be created. So we can just visualize the step by step the user is going to take through that interface. So by these kind of techniques, we can actually design interfaces that are attractive and each individual users, and we can just guide them towards the achieving their objective. So user flow is really necessary while creating a flow of the design. Okay, so this is the actually this will be the main start of the prototyping. So we will be starting with the low fidelity wireframing technique. So using this method, we will get a instant understanding about how the application or the product is gonna be working. So in this case, the prototype is not to be highly interactive. It should be just a static or any kind of animation. So the user or the stakeholders will get a clear understanding how the application or the product is gonna be working throughout the product. So in this phase, we'll be just creating with an initial screens. So we can just ideate the designs, and then we'll be providing some static animations, and we will be providing with the stakeholders. So we will get maybe we'll get some criticisms, or we will get some suggestions from the client side. So according to that, we can just ideate and we can just improve the design. And after refining, we can just go on to the high fidelity thing. So high fidelity prototyping. Actually, this is really crucial among the designers to understand the gap between the designer and the products. So by providing the stakeholder and user with a more realistic experience of experience to interact with the interface, by we can utilize some of the design tools like I told earlier, like the prototype framer principle. With these all tools, all them are the advanced tools. So we can create the high fidelity things using these tools. So by creating that with an interactive visual design, also some kind of elements, also animation, and we can even use the micro interactions to get a high fidelity prototype. So it is the really crucial elements that while we creating a product. So overall, the high fidelity prototype enhance the design process, and which helps us to refine our interface before we creating the or creating the actual development of the product. So at the end, there should be the testing between the stakeholders. So usability test is one thing that can be used for this process. Some of them we can use the A/B testing, which can be enables us to compare and evaluate the various design variations of the features in order to we can identify the most effective solutions. So by seeking these kind of feedbacks from the users or even the stakeholders, we can actually refine our design, and we can actually identify the area of the improvements that we need to bring after the usability testing. So we can just iterate our design using the valuable feedbacks, and which provides a user-centric design which can address our needs and deliver a satisfying experience. So what we can or can't use for the prototype. So as I said earlier, it is really essential to understand the idea of the product and to get the feedback from the client and to make it more interactive and make it more experience with the users and the stakeholders. So the prototype is really essential for that kind of purpose. So at the end, we need to remember that all the prototype techniques can't be taken due to some technical capabilities in the backend or the development side. So most of them we can be taken. So some of them have some criteria on there will be limitation, maybe because of the cost or maybe because of the lack of developers or some kind of problems can be arise. So at that time, most of them we can't be taken. So that we all need to be understandable with that. Okay, here I'll be taking through some of the prototyping techniques so that you can understand about how we're gonna create all these things. So I will show the screen just for a second. Hope you can see my screen. Mega, is it visible?
Yes, it is visible.
Okay,
You can
okay, thank
continue.
you. Thank you. So, okay, this is actually an application for a product. It's a food application. So I will just show a prototype of a static animation where we haven't created any sort of animation. So just feel the application, how it's working. So there is nothing much, right? It's just moving from one screen to another without any emotion and all. So uh, it's pretty simple. There is nothing happening, just a static animation is happening. So what will happen if we provide some kind of animation to this product? Let's see. So here I am just clicking on this veggie tomato mix. At that time, that plate itself is coming to the another page, and at the same time, you can see the hamburger menu and also the cart menu is moving and changing to the back button and to the favorite button. So you can see how they are going to interact with the application itself. So by adding to the cart, it's going to the left side and the other section is coming from the down. So there is some movement is happening in the application. So the user will be more interactive. Like maybe they will be more interactive with the animation. So they're like they would be more likely to use that animation even. So by completing this order, the payment section is coming. We can use the radio buttons to add the bank accounts and all. Then just proceeding. And here we'll ask about the delivery location. After proceeding, okay, it's success. So these kind of animation techniques that we can be used using Figma. So I will just show a small example. Just a moment. Okay. So I will get to know about how to create this small interactive animation. So it is basically created by using the smart effects techniques in Figma. So for an example, I am just taking a frame and I'm providing a subheading. Okay. Just decreasing the size a little bit, putting to medium. Okay. So this will be the content that I need to edit. So this will be the final product that I required, but I need some kind of animation like the let's go is coming from the top side from this area. Sorry, it's coming from the top area and the animate is coming from the left side. So that's the animation I required. For that, we can use a property called the smart animate. So for doing the smart animation, we need to think that each and every frame's name should be same, because for smart animating, we always need to take a copy of that frame. So while taking that copy, you can see this layer's name is same as this layer. Exactly, the animate this layer same as this layers animate this, right? So for doing the smart animate, the layer's name is more important. If the layer's name is changing, then the smart animate won't happen. So after doing that, I am just taking the let's go to the top part and just decreasing the opacity to 0. The reason I just reduce the opacity is because to get a fade in fade out animation. So if while the animation is happening, this will come from 0 to 10, 30, 50, then to 100. So there will be a smooth fade in animation over there. So I just move to the top part and moving this animate this to the left side and also providing 0. So after connecting this, okay, here is to property design and prototype. So in the design field, we can design all the elements. On the prototype, this field only we are gonna animate. Okay, so I am just connecting this frame to this frame by this small dot. You can see a round plus icon over here. By clicking and dragging over there, the one arrow will come and just connect to the next frame. So then a pop-up will be coming. So there are a lot of properties called on click, on drag, while hovering, while pressing. All these properties are required on our what can we say? So it's based on the website. So for example, if you are providing the after delay, so you can see if some of the website you are loading without even clicking, some animation is happening. So at that time we can provide this after delay. So here I am providing on click because I only need the animation when I click on this frame. So I'm providing on click and providing the property called smart animate. There are some other elements also called instant, dissolve, move in, move out. A lot of property there, but I'm using the smart animate technique. Just providing some time, 600 ms. So that will be the time it's gonna take for the let's go to come from here to here. Okay, let's see what the animation will be. See, the let's go is coming from the top to bottom and the animate this guy is coming from left to right. This is the basic of smart animate. So that technique is being used over this design to attain that kind of interaction over here. For example, you can see this plate, right? This plate's name is called mask group. That is same name of this plate. So both of them having the same name. That's why the animation is coming like this plate is moving to the top and enlarging the sides and it's coming to the new screen like this. See, so that's the basic idea of smart animate. So I will just show how to create this hamburger menu using that smart animate. So here you can see the background color of the screen is green color. For that, see, the background color is green color and all this content is being grouped and named as frame 5. So this is a frame where it contains all these properties and options. So here you can see this frame. Its name is also frame 5. So this is same as this one. So what is happening like while I am moving this thing and reducing the size, I'm moving it to here. So the animation will be like, it will be just reducing the size and moving over here. So that will be the animation is gonna happen while I do the smart animate. So that's how I just created this one. And I will just show the animation first so you will get an understanding about it. See, so the menu is also coming like it's having some liquid animation, like it's so smooth, right? So that also provided in a way like I'm just unclipping this to get a more understanding. The main idea is like the layers name should be same. So this is also a group where the profile order offers and everything is in a group. So this is same as this one. So this is actually outside this frame, but actually clipped inside the frame. See? So here I just move some 30 pixel gap between the profile, order, offers, privacy, security, and all. So there is an equal gap between them. So while the animation is happening, exactly like what we done over here, each and every element will be coming to the screen in order after doing the smart animate technique. So I will show the properties that I have been provided here. So it's 800 ms, the speed is 800 ms and it's smart animate and it's have the on click property And here is a option called ease in and out. Actually, this is an animation technique. It's coming fastly, and at the end it will be slowed down. Okay, so that's the property called ease in, ease out. Okay, that's how I just created this. So I can just tell you about some of the basic elements that we need while doing the prototype. It's called some, you will be familiar with the toggle icon, even the radio, and also the checkbox. So in Figma, there is a property called a component. And using this component, we can create some of the variants of the design. For example, I will just recreate this. Okay. So this is the element that I created. I am just creating a component for that. So this diamond shape is the create component icon. So now this is a component. Okay. So this asset can be used in everywhere over the design. And even if I edit it over here, that will be affecting on all the designs where I use this icon. Okay. So after creating the command, and another icon is coming here, which also is in a diamond shape and also having a plus icon over there. It's called the add variant. Okay. After clicking the add variant, a version of that icon is coming down. So this will be the child component of this parent component. Okay. So what animation do I need here? I need a on animation here. So I'm just selecting this thing. Sorry. We'll take this. It's making it as a component and inserting it. Okay. This will be the second thing that I require. Okay, this is the off animation and this is the on state. Okay. Both of them having the same name and I need the property. So the property can be given on the right side. You can see the current version. This is called default. So I only need this as off. So this is off state and this is on state. Okay. So the variant will be like on off will be coming. See. So we can provide animation or the prototype within this variant itself. So just move on to the prototype section. Just click on this thing. Just click on the plus and just move to the bottom thing. And on click, we get smart animate to 600 ms. And also after clicking the on to, we just move on to the off button. So that also having the same animation for the smart animate 600 ms, ease in, ease out. Everything is given. After doing that, the animation will be like this will be the animation. See, this can be used in all the design, all the UIs that you have been created. So by just copy this and I'm just pasting it over here, over here. And if you just play this thing, here also you can use that animation. See, so that's the use of variant prototyping. So that's the way I just created all these things. See, this dragging animation. For this property is the same method I used here, but just one thing is different. Rather than providing on click, I just provided on drag. So on the drag property, the animation is happening. So that's the only difference. So that's how we are creating prototype in Figma. So I can just show you some advanced thing that we can do using this part anime. So I'm not gonna explain that. I will just show the animation how this kind of animation also can be created using this. See, this is called as the parallax effect. See, the same technique that I used earlier called the smart animate is being used to create this thing. It's looking wonderful, right? But the process is pretty simple. I can provide this Figma file you guys over the chat, so you can get more understanding. I can just play around this. Okay, let's now just move on some case studies. regarding prototyping. One second, I will reshare my screen. I think it's not visible. It's visible, right? Okay. You can see my screen, right? The ferrum pipe. Okay. Okay. Ferrum pipe is basically a website for the metal fences. Okay. It has been created by the Cuboto Designs. It is a US client. Mainly what the website is talking about is like a metal fences that can be used for the security gates. So just see how they just introduce that product throughout this website. So I'm just always scrolling throughout the website. So at that time itself, you will get a proper understanding about what exactly the product is. So see, the project is coming like a 3D effect over here and just showing this is the product. And they're talking about some of its factories and elements they have been selling over the platform. So moving down. Okay, this is the interesting part. Okay, we have a large selection of frames. Okay, there comes the frame, and they were showing the diameter of the pipe by just taking us through the pipe. See the animation, like it's just showing the dimension. After that, it's just taking us through the pipe and just telling that no welding and no sink is damaged by creating this product. So then how it's gonna be welding? Then they are just talking about how they weld this. So they use some interlocking feature over here. So no metal or zinc coating has been created. And they were talking about the colors. They have green color, black, blue, yellow, and also they are showing how to assemble this product. See, that's it. By that kind of animation without even having a number of text. So you can see it's text is limited. So we are only focusing on the animation. With just seeing those animation itself, we got a proper understanding about the product, right? So the user will be more eager to see this kind of animation and effects rather than just reading so many contents of the website. So all this animation is more interactive. Even just see this hamburger. It's just like we are chasing that hamburger, right? See, all this animation is more engaging. I can just show you another example too. Everyone might be familiar with the luxury company called the Maserati. So it has a car called MC20. Okay, so this website is about that car. Just a second. Okay. Okay, hot-blooded and purebred. So what this is gonna state, this car will attain 100 kilometer within 2.9 seconds. So they're gonna just show this thing just by an animation technique. I will just show you that. Hold your space bar, okay? See, just by giving a fake exhaust note and just showing the field like 2.9 seconds is only required to get the 100 kilometer. So that's something creative that all the users will be attracted to, right? Okay.
Sorry. I think your audio was lost.
Sorry. Ajnesh, hello. Is there an you haven't heard any audio?
Yeah, Nejimsha, hi. We are able to hear you. In between, your audio is a little this thing, but we were able to hear the website audio.
Okay,
No
okay,
worries, it's
fine.
back now.
Okay, fine, ma'am. So yeah, yeah, that's it. Just share the Figma itself. Okay, so we can conclude this webinar on mastering AI prototyping from concept to interactive design. I hope you have gained the valuable insights in the importance and process of the UI prototyping. Remember the prototype, it is actually a powerful technique that everyone should be using over the design. And actually, I will encourage you to continue exploring this kind of UI prototyping throughout the design. And thank you. I am just turning my mic down and giving to Mega. Mega, you can carry on.
Thank you, Nejimsha, for taking us through mastering UI prototyping from concept to interactive design. You explained about the key principles. It has some design tools as well as how to design and plan the user flow with some useful techniques also. So overall, it was a very useful session. So we move on to Q&A session. So please feel free to unmute yourself and ask question or type in the chat window. As well as you can also share your feedback or your own experience related to this topic.
Hi, Nejimsha, just a doubt.
Yeah.
On the ferrum pipe example that you showed,
Okay.
especially where that pipe is coming and we are going inside that, right?
Yeah.
So that's a video, right? And that is linked to the scroll behavior, right? That,
Actually, it's not a video. Actually, we can just provide create that using the prototype and all. So the process is being shown or created using the After Effects techniques. So we can use
Okay.
After Effects for this technique. So after
Oh.
creating that on the development side, we can use some development things for creating that purpose.
Okay, and Protopy is a go-to tool for that, right?
Yeah, it's a great tool for that.
Okay, awesome. Thanks.
Okay, Harish.
Hello, hi. So Megha is facing some audio issues. So I'm just going to carry on the Q&A. All of you are free to unmute your mics and ask questions.
Yeah, hi, Nejimsha. So can you provide any tips for presenting prototype to stakeholders and clients effectively?
Can you repeat that, Amit?
Can you provide any tips for presenting prototypes and stakeholders? I mean, to
Yeah,
stakeholders and client effectively.
understood. Actually, we can set a clear objectives between the clients, and also we can provide the context, and we can even highlight the key features of the design, right? And some also we can even use the realistic context, and also we can guide the interaction and solidify our specific features. So by just providing some real content, like on our day-to-day life, we can see a lot of things, like the switches and all. We can just even connect that with the design. So I just showed the toggle icon, right? So that can also be synced with the switch property on our daily life. So some of the scenarios can be just linked with our realistic content, and also we can even provide some criticism to provide some variation of the design, so we can just criticize on that topic, so that we can just adapt and we can get a proper understanding about some of their own ideas too. Yeah, and always try to communicate with the stakeholders so we can get a transparent idea about that.
Hi, Nejim. Chris here.
Yeah,
I
Chris.
would like to hear your perspective on the risk of not doing effective prototyping. I mean, we all design, many designers do the design. But I say due to time crunch or different circumstances, we overlook and we skip the prototyping. I would like to hear from you about the risk
Yeah,
not
Chris,
doing
got
a
it.
effective prototype, please. Thank you.
Yeah, got it, Chris. So actually, using the prototyping is really essential, first of all. So sometimes there will be lack of time for creating this prototyping thing, but I would recommend only even if you are facing time constraints, but still try to use the prototyping techniques, not to create so many creative elements, but even we can just show the clients or the users by just some of the animation techniques. Some of them are pretty easier that once I just showed with the smart anime. So some kind of motion or the micro interactions can be created within the design. So the result will be far better, because at the end the the requirement of the client should be satisfied throughout the product. And even we also need to understand the client's feel about the use our product, right? So to get a proper feel of our product, it's really necessary to create this prototyping thing. So even that can be connected with the final product, but there will be some difference while creating the final product after creating this. But still, we need to provide the prototypes for a better understanding of the product.
So very mild way of putting it. Yes.
Yes.
Thank
Yeah,
you. Thank you, Chris.
Yeah, hi Najim. So like some of us work in teams, right? Like we'll have multiple
Mhm.
designers working on a project, or we have to take feedback for our designs, right? So
Yeah.
how does prototyping help in terms of collaborating with different designers, or getting feedback and things like that?
Okay. Actually, we can enable the team members to have a shared understanding of the design ideas and the goals. So it should be actually open between the designers, developers, and even the stakeholders. Just by allowing, actually, it allows for the easy visualization and exploration of the design, and we can even get alternative suggestions from the design team itself. So after creating something creative animation or something like that, just try to communicate with the team members who is having some knowledge, or even you can even contribute some knowledge to them. So within the team member itself, you'll be getting some understanding about the idea of creating these kind of things using some particular applications, exactly like this Figma or the framework, right? So even you can get more ideas from the team itself, and sometimes you will be getting to know that, okay, this is not the proper animation that I need for this application. Might I need to create some animation by the suggestions that have been provided by Vandana? So that kind of criticisms will happen within the design team itself. So that is actually really great to improve our skills and to even get to motivate for the more designs and further designs. That's it, Vandana.
Thank you, Najim.
Yeah.
Anything?
Hi.
Nikhil here. I'm a UX designer, and most of my work during the design process happens in the iteration phase or ideation phase of the project. And I have to do a lot of wireframes and do prototypes on those wireframes. So when I'm showing these wireframes to these clients, there are a lot of back and forth happening. So I need to do a lot of prototype changes. So
Mhm.
do you have any, like, what would you do? Do you have any ideas on how to manage this faster, these prototype changes?
Okay. Actually, on the initial stage itself, after creating this wireframe, so don't make it too related to the final designs. Just only create the static website with a small placeholders and all. And by providing a simple animation, never use any kind of large interactive animation on the wireframe techniques, just to understand the flow of the design. So after creating that, you can just use the user testing sessions, or even you can conduct some surveys regarding that. So from that itself, you will get some clear understanding from the client side. So at the end, we need a close alignment, or it should be really close to the user's needs and their expectations, right? So we need to prioritize and analyze their feedbacks to identify the design. So then after getting a proper understanding from the stakeholders or the users, try to iterate on the prototype that you have been implemented, and try to make it more refined and create some more improved versions of that. So even after that, you can just conduct some of the subsequent rounds on the testings. So by that, you can just effectively create some changes over there. I'm pretty sure that. Try that, Nikhil.
Okay, so you're suggesting that we do a minimum prototype while we do the
Yeah.
wireframes and then move on to
So
the maximum
yeah,
prototype
don't use a lot
UI.
of interactive elements over the wireframe. That will confuse the users and the stakeholders. Try to do a minimal prototype on the wireframing, and you can provide a high fidelity things on the high fidelity prototype.
Thank you, Mr.
Yeah, thank you, Nikhil.
Thank you, Nikhil. Nijim, we have some feedback message on the chat window, okay? Uh,
Okay.
is there any other questions or feedbacks or your any own experience related to this topic means you can share?
Yeah, Nejim, I think the message in the group, right? I think they're asking for the Figma file. I'm not sure if you've
Yeah,
shared.
sure. I can share the file to the class.
Hello, Nejimsha.
Yeah.
I have a doubt. I'm curious about is what is the tool that you are actually doing for making this prototypes and all? Which is the most comfort? Which one is you are more comfortable with, Framer, prototype, or you are just comfortable with Figma itself?
Uh,
What
yeah.
would you prefer?
Actually, for the basic animation purposes, we can use the Figma itself. It's because it is really collaborative. So even the users or even stakeholders and the developers, designers, all can interact with an application itself. And it also having a vast variety of prototyping techniques over there. So just if you are if you require any kind of furthermore prototypes, like more advanced thing, you can just move on with the framer and prototype. Prototype is something that is more greater for the prototyping. Like it is more realistic. We can even do so many realistic prototype using prototype. I'm not that much familiar with prototype, but through the research, it's showing it's so great for the prototyping purpose. For me, I basically gone with Figma, XD, and After Effects.
Okay. So these are much more time consuming when we are using Framer or Protopy or some external tools like that. Oh?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So there will be that kind of effects if even if we are using that for a lot of time. So the output will be great.
Yeah, obviously. Thank you, Najim.
Thank you, Mitra. Anyone having any doubt regarding the animation that have been shown earlier? I can provide that Figma file here.
Najimsha, I have one doubt.
Yeah. Please.
So how will we choose which kind of animation is suitable for this particular page, something like that? How do we choose?
Actually, we need to iterate on that. We just first of all, we need to get a proper understand about the product that we're gonna create. So most the product are different. So each product requires that kind of animation for that. So some of the products it won't be necessary to create some animation. So for an example, um, like if you are creating a mood tracking application or something like that related to our sleep analysis or something like that, the animation can be shown or the UI itself we can be created in a dark theme, and even showing so many stars on that kind of elements that we can add to just soothe our understanding that we are going to be using some application related to the sleep analysis. So try to implement that kind of elements on the design, and we can even animate that things over there. So it's particularly based on the application regarding the animation that we are providing over there.
So the decision is made by the UX designer or the UI designer or the interaction designer.
Actually, it can be created by the interaction designer and particularly communicate with the UI designer too. So all of them should have a proper understanding about the flow of the design and what kind of animation we are going to be provide that. So uh, as I said earlier, all need the understanding about what the thing is going to happen on that product.
Yeah, hi. I think the answer should be based on the merit of the idea. For
Mhm.
example, if a UI designer is coming up with a good idea, then the interaction designer and the UX designer should oblige and accept it. It's the idea should win. Doesn't matter where it comes from. Uh, so again, the idea again dictates how do we execute that, and all this Protopy, Figma, and Framer, and any new tools can come in the block. Everything will only empower the idea you have in your mind. I mean, the tool itself cannot create magic. We have to have that idea, and then this will only enable us to execute it and interact. So, but I think
So this,
we should not limit.
okay. So how do we design the interaction? So before implementing in the prototype. So this interaction could come here, something like that.
Correct. So when the UX designer is designing everything, their main focus is on the flow, the how do they group things logically,
Yes,
those fundamental stuff. But if the UX designer has the passion and has a vision to come up with suggest some ideas like this kind of interaction could be nice, then the UI designer could inherit those ideas and make sure those things are taken care of. And plus, the UI designer can also add in their own ideas, but we have to communicate that with the team of designers who are involved. So they should be in agreement that, okay, UI designer has proposed, UX designer proposed a set of things. They try to bridge this together. And again, at this point, UI designer is also a very creative person. They could also come up with looking at the design, uh, they could conceptualize few interaction, and then that doesn't mean interaction designer would say, why did you do that? It's my job. No, if the idea is good, they can inherit it and make it better. So anybody can. That's my personal opinion. We don't need to put boundaries. If somebody can contribute more than they're required to, we should encourage it.
Yeah.
So this should be also based on what kind of user is going to use the application also, right?
Correct. Right.
Okay,
So
thanks, Nejimsha.
prototyping, there are two things. One is how to communicate the idea, we need to do certain prototyping. For example, how the page scroll, how the elements will react. These are all behavioral thing. This is very important to communicate the idea to the customer so that they can understand it in full glory, like what it is intended. The second type of prototyping requires to demonstrate certain micro interaction and those kind of things. So both are equally important.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Chris and Arun. Nijim, we have few more questions in the chat window.
Yeah.
Hello, Nijim. Yes. The first question is raised by Vaishnav. What are your thoughts on UI prototyping or animations for a responsive product?
Okay. Vaishnav, actually, it is not essential to show all the kind of animation on the responsive screens. For example, for the forum pipe I just showed earlier, right? So on the website, only they are providing that kind of animation. So if someone is more curious about that application, he would definitely gonna be use that web through just to see through that the website. So if they are using a mobile application, so this will be really frustrating for if you are showing that kind of huge animations over there. So it should be okay for providing a minimal animation over the mobile. So even that Ferrum Pipe also provided the minimal, and there is no that kind of large animations over the mobile responsive screens. So it's better not to use that kind of large animation over the mobile screen. So that will be frustrating.
Okay, I think the second question is from a Gopika Ashok. Couldn't the animations take longer time to load for a user using data rather than Wi-Fi connection? Couldn't that leave the user frustrated? What do you suggest in such cases?
Actually, Gopika, it depends on the Wi-Fi also. Okay, that I understood. But on the animation thing, it actually depends on the designers also. In some sort of time, due to the lack of time, they will be providing some video animations over the website. So if you are providing that video animation, it will be depends upon the size of the video. So at that case, it will be lagging. So it's more better to get an understanding about the developer's concern also. So if the developer is even capable of doing that kind of animation, then it's okay to do that. So while doing the development purpose, that won't take that much time to load all these things. If and only if we are using some videos over the website, that will be lagging. So it's better just use through coding purpose and get the animation thing.
Yeah, may I follow that
Sure,
answer?
Chris.
Yeah. Gopika, do you know what is FLV? You can just type it, because if you know that, then we've been working for quite some time. Back in the days, people used to complain for loading videos in a FLV format, but now we have come a long way. Nowadays, there is nothing is dampening the performance of the web. We have crazy components being rendered now, real time, 3D graphics are being rendered. So, oh, okay, you're not aware of it. So those was back in the days when Flash was dominating. All the videos used to be embedded in FLV, but now we just embed directly from YouTube or different streaming platforms. The short answer for your question is no. Most of the time, animations are controlled, rendered by the browser itself. And the WebGL is very, very powerful. That's the engine used to render the graphics on web. And other graphics is again handled by piece of JSON code. So it's again, technically it's code. So it is very, very lightweight. It renders really fast. And yeah, it is really hard to even list down the number of items could slow down the performance on your web. So you don't limit the performance as a bottleneck. Please be free in your creativity. Knock yourself out.
Yes, thank you, Chris. Gopika Ashok, I hope we have cleared your doubts. And the third question is Nijim. It is riser from Akhil BS. As an aspiring UI UX designer, what advice or strategies could you recommend for someone seeking entry-level UI internships to engage their skills and increase their chance of securing valuable opportunities in the field?
Okay. So, Agil, there are a lot of courses that related to UI UX and also even the prototyping thing. So you can just take the interaction design foundation courses too. So they are really great. Even the professors that were teaching over there is some of the leading professors on the UI UX field. So you can know the Don Norman, right? Even he also teaching on that platform. So if you're having a certificate of the interaction design foundation, that will be really valuable over your companies that you have been trying to get in. And also you can get to know more about this prototyping things by just taking some course on the Udemy, and lot of the platforms are there to study. So try to acquire more skills and try to create a good portfolio and just engage on the social media uh, regarding your works. So that's the only thing that you require, and just try to be positive about all the things. All this can be just taken to a good company.
Yeah, Akhil, I'd like to add to that, Nejimsha. So, Akhil, I think the first thing you might want to really focus on is building a portfolio that is a pet project. So you can imagine a problem, or you can maybe there is some gap like in things that you do, and you feel like if this kind of one service was there, it would be like really useful for everyone. So you know a problem which is there in your daily life or generally people around you, and you design a solution by first doing some user research, properly breaking down the possible things or the requirements that come up, what the users need. So basically go through the entire UX process, and then based on that design a UI for that. So that means you will actually chart out in that entire portfolio your pet project, user personas, the information architecture. You start off by defining the problem, then you have what is your solution to it, and basically you have all the steps of what a process, what kind of research. So maybe you want to do some research by doing some surveys and giving it out to users, quick Google forms. So all of this, put it together, and then at the end, like the last thing that you would add is the UI. But firstly, you need to find out whether what part of the process interests you. Is it the UX? Is it the research? Is it the wireframing? Is it the UI solutioning? Or is all of it? So when you do this pet project, you will also be able to understand for yourself what process you enjoy. But of course, don't take doing one project as the indicator of what you really enjoy doing. But do one or two projects like this, and you will understand what you're really good at. Maybe you're good at charting out the user journey. Other than that, I would say we're all creative people. Those who wish to be in UI UX, we're also logical. So work on creating an interesting resume. So if you're good at visual design, use your visual design skills to create don't give like a regular resume. Do something different, and having an interesting resume and your portfolio will be one of the major steps that you need to take. The other thing is go on LinkedIn and network. Network with those who you see here in this call, or on IxDF. If you've become a member, you can network with people there. Join these groups online of different groups related to UX UI, and network with these people on LinkedIn. So you just keep talking to people who are in this to help understand yourself better, what part you want to work in, and then just apply with your resume and your portfolio. This is what I would say. Yeah,
Yes,
thank you.
Vandana.
Yeah.
Yes, Vandana. I think Akhil has got some idea regarding it. Yes, we have one more question, Najim. So it is from Miba guest. So what are the key considerations for selecting the appropriate fidelity level of prototype based on the specific project requirements?
Okay. Miba, hello.
Uh, yes, Najim.
Miba, can you please clarify that question once more?
Hi Nazim, I just wants to know about the fidelity level for the prototype based on the project requirements. If you can know that so many of projects have low type of requirements and high type of requirements. So based on that, how you can specialize the fidelity level of the prototype?
Okay. Okay, Miba. It's actually really depends on the its project and its cost even. So if you have the time to do all the methods, so there are a lot of method even other than the wireframing and the high fidelity prototyping. So even that you have the user researching. Even for that also you have a lot of things to do. So it's actually basically happening and only because of the project cost. So some of them we will need to be cut down. So I would pretty sure that it's better to create the wireframe, even a small thing for the brainstorming, even creating the high fidelity or the end product. So actually, it would be really essential to create that so that you will be getting a proper output at the final. So if you are just going with the high fidelity on the start itself, there won't be that much iteration that you will be going to provide. So uh, first of all, we just need to understand the basic flow of the design, right? So for that itself, we just need to create the wireframe and just ideate on the designs and just to know about what are the elements that we are going to plan on the each area. So just need to get a proper understanding on that first, then we can just move on to the final designs. So that would be far better than just skipping the wireframing thing.
Understood. Thank you, Najim.
Okay.
Also,
Thank you.
just wanted to add one more thing. So if we actually should be very careful about adding some sort of animations, because if we overdo this, it could, take us to the literal opposite direction and kill the product. So the first step should be to, gain some skills by observing the, top people or companies who are doing that. For example, one of the latest thing from Material U from Google, does that very tastefully, and obviously Apple mastered it, very long ago. Yeah.
I mean, as a general rule of thumb, consider prototyping as a essential workflow of our design. Don't decide if you have extra time, you're gonna do it. If you're not, you're gonna only design the screens alone. I mean, it's not a fancy thing. That is something we must all realize. It's not a fancy thing. It is. It can literally showcase some of the flaws in our experience. Sometimes when we stare at the screens we designed, we may miss out something. But the moment you start doing the prototyping and start interacting with it, you will feel like, whoa, something is missing. What did go wrong? And then that could help you to fix it before somebody else point a finger at us. So even from interaction standpoint, it is very, very critical and useful. And once you make it as a habit, then all those things will happen so fluently. So please don't consider it as a burden or an extra effort. It will enhance overall output.
Yes, thank you, Chris. Is there any questions or any feedbacks from the audience side? I think there is no more. So thank you so much, Nejimsha, for taking time for us and bringing to this an interesting session. So I would like to thank each and everyone who took their valuable time from the busy day to attend this webinar. A special thanks to all the participants who actively participated in the Q&A session, especially Ahmed, Chris, Nikhil, Vandana, Mitra, Arun, Gopika, Vaishnav, Akhil, Nivaris. So many members have shared your own experience and they clear the doubts each other. It's a very nice interactive session. So thank you all the volunteers of the IxDF team to that worked behind the scenes to make this event happen. Please write to us and let us know how you found the session. We are available on social media like Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram. You can also write to us ixdfkerala@hotmail.com. We have an IxDF Kerala community in Interactive Design Foundation website. Hope to see you on next session as we come to you with another interactive webinar. Until that, stay safe and stay tuned. Thank you.